What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of Fantasy in Progress, a point in progress podcast. I had to look over just in case I missed it because it's been a couple of weeks since we
Been a
recorded.
couple weeks.
It's been a couple of weeks since we recorded, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I had the name right. But we're
Mhm.
good. Everything is good. We're recording. I am joined by two regulars that are on the podcast. Fee, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm slightly confused what you almost called us, but
I have these things so when I record my VO for my videos and
Yeah.
stuff, I always have these like little brain farts where I just don't say anything for like 5 seconds, and then my thought keeps going after that. But at least in the VO part of it, I can cut that all down and make it seem like it was all one coherent thought. So yeah, on podcasts, I can't do that. I can't do that.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm doing really good. I am currently in I guess we could say Shadowbringers hangover right now, because we finished up Shadowbringers last night, and that was a roller coaster and a half of emotion. We're not going to be talking about that today, but yeah, I'm still feeling the effects of that. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, Frank, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm feeling that post Shadowbringers high as well. I love Final Fantasy more than I did the day before yesterday. Mainly because 5.0 was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
we're not talking about 5.0 today.
No, we're talking about 4.0 today.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that we got to 5.0. We got to the end of 5.0, and we're actually gonna get to Endwalker probably before Endwalker comes out. We're gonna be
hell yeah.
towing the line, though. So I don't know. We're planning to do 5.3 all together, and then I think we're just gonna book club it all the way up to Endwalker at this point, because there is only 3 weeks left.
Mhm.
And I think it'll take us 2 weeks to actually finish 5.1 to 5.3. So
Yeah.
so 2 patches are gonna have to be book clubbed. But yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Stormblood. But before we get into any of that, guys, you can listen to this podcast not live. This podcast is not live. You can watch Point in Progress podcast live on twitch.tv/point in progress every Friday. That is recorded. You can see us here on YouTube, youtube.com/point in progress. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys like the content on this channel, hit that sub button. We got videos going out pretty much we got like 3 videos going out every week at least at this point. So if you guys like any of that content, give us a follow. If you guys want to give us a follow on Twitter, it's twitter.com/point in progress.
Yeah.
But now getting into the meat of it. Yes, we finished Stormblood a while ago. So we were just trying to get like a kind of a refresher, I guess, in a way of like how Stormblood was. Top level thoughts. All right, we're gonna start with top level, and then we'll hit some story beats and stuff like that. That's within that. Fee, what are your top level thoughts of Stormblood? We also did not do this together. This was all a book club method. So we did not do every quest together. We just ran with it as whatever our pace was, and so this is our first time sitting down and actually like talking about it and stuff too. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll be honest, I feel like Stormblood just left me more confused than anything else. There was a lot of moving parts that didn't really feel like they were aligning, and I do understand that in cases like this, we wouldn't have the impact of like Shadowbringers between like we needed Stormblood to get to Shadowbringers. It's something that we really needed. We were able to create bonds with Elise, which honestly, she's I can probably hands down say probably in my top like 3 favorite characters of this entire game. She was my ride or die the entire expansion, and I thought I really liked Alphanode because you have this relationship with him throughout like ARR. You kind of start building it through Heaven's Ward. You went through a lot, but like Alize was like a whole is a whole other person, and I'm really excited that she was one of my biggest highlights of that entire this entire game expansion for Stormblood. She was definitely one of my favorite parts of it, just because of her sass and her back talk with some people. And she's just like she's no BS when it comes to people trying to like act out, or just like if she finds something weird, she'll call people out on it. She'll be like, "Sure, you're definitely gonna do that." And I'm not like, what the fuck, like. And then she's just always constantly, for me, she's always looking up at me because my character is an absolute giant. But no, there was
90%
just
of everybody, honestly.
90% of everybody. But no, there was
Yeah.
just a lot of things that like I forgot about afterwards. Like I felt like there was a lot of story beats when it came to ARR and Heaven's Word that I'm like, oh man, these characters were great. But there's some characters in like this expansion that just didn't have any sort of impact at all, which kind of made me upset. And I feel like we felt that a lot with some of the deaths that happened during this expansion as well. So I don't know. It left me wanting more. There was a lot of aspects that got me excited. The areas were beautiful. Kugane is, I can like that is my favorite city in the entire, like currently I always go there. It's really easy to maneuver, really pretty, the music's awesome, and just no, it's kind of like this. I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy the expansion, but there was just things that
It fell short. It fell
it
short.
felt short. Yeah, it fell short for sure. That's a great way to explain it.
We'll get into some of the reasons why, but
Sure.
Frank, what about you? What are your top level thoughts when it came to Stormblood?
Stormblood is the middle child of this series of events that's going on. It is, as Mako likes to say, it's the season 2 of the TV show. You know, it's without saying anything too much right now. It's a lot of stuff just to piss people off. Like the whole story is just kind of like, we're doing this just to be a thorn in someone's. And just it didn't feel very rewarding by the end of it. I feel like we didn't accomplish much, but just kind of just be like, hey guys, we're here. Where there is a resistance and we are formidable. That's basically about it for me.
Yeah, there were. I feel like the main thing that we caught in Stormblood is that we got a villain that is coming with us to the next expansion and then expansion beyond, right? That
the whole point to put a face to the problem.
Yeah, it established a villain that we're going to be dealing with. The other thing that I feel like was, I think, a misstep in my opinion, was the Azim step. The whole quest line in that area with Magnus and the other tribe that is like them with fighting and stuff like that. It just got very, very boring and samey all the time. Like every time you went to go see Magnus, because like Magnus is like one of those he's like one of those people that wants to he's in that big island, and he thinks he is like the ruler of the entire place, and like they do trial by combat and all that kind of stuff, right? So like that's their way of doing things. But like after about 4 trials of combat, you're just like, all right, we're doing this again. Because around the end of the expansion, it happens again, and you're just like, why are we doing this? Yeah. What is the point of it? Even Y'shtola like, why are we doing this right now?
Yeah.
I felt that was a very weak part. That entire Azim step, I feel like was a weak part of it.
Yeah, like it just didn't make any sense for me. Like I get that we had to do the fight. Like we had to go. There was 3 tribes in the Azim area. We were the representative for the Mole tribe, because the Mole tribe was essentially the underling out of the other 2, and we did this entire battle, which honestly was kind of interesting. You went in, you got to see everyone's kind of like power. Magnai, who is the leader of the Oranir tribe, was the guy who had like the massive sword and is just going to town. Then there's Sadu, from the Dathari tribe. You know what? I would prefer dealing with I would prefer dealing with literally anybody else. Bring back all the bad guys, because quite honestly, she is the biggest bad guy in this entire series. Mostly because that infuriating. We proved ourselves in that fight. We were able to bring the Mole tribe as the leader of of Zim, but then we had to ask them for help. And so then she's just like, we have to duke this out. And I'm like, we really don't. I've already beaten you twice. This is why a third time. I don't think Frank and Harv have seen me rage quit that hard on a game than that entire instance where I failed twice and I'm like, I'm done. I almost quit. I was just like, I'm sick of this game. I'm sick of this shit.
This actually happened. We were there. We were there when this happened.
And I blew up and then I had to walk away and then I just like lost my mind and then I came back after like cooling off for a little bit. But holy mackerel, I was just like, there's no reason for this fight. There's no explanation going in how to actually kind of maneuver certain things. And it just didn't, all the pieces, like it was like a puzzle where there was just pieces missing. And then some other pieces were like ones from the factory that were not cut correctly. So that piece should have fit, but it didn't fit in all the way.
Yeah.
And so for me mentally, I apologize for my rant, guys, but holy moly,
This is your TED Talk. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe.
I thought it was a beautiful area.
Podcast.
I thought it was a great way to introduce like a lot of like Asian like culture and specifically like just with the visuals. But holy mackerel, would I put Sadu at the bottom of the rift, like underwater, and just send her with the fish people and hope that I don't see her again? Because that was one of the most irritating things in this entire game for me, at least.
That's fair. I do want to mention something. Since Harv mentioned it earlier that we book clubbed this.
Yeah.
So we did do this a little bit differently. I know Harv, you did it pretty steadily, right?
I finished
pretty
it
steadily.
I finished it in about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Fee, you did it pretty steadily as well. You did a few quests here and there. I did this in 3 days. Stupidly. I think the Friday we decided to get into Stormblood, I was like, okay, cool. I did a few, and then we did Saturday, I did a few, got up to like halfway through, and then that Sunday, I said, you know what? I just want to see if I can get through this. So I did. I stood up for 22 hours on Sunday.
That's a
And-
lot to take in for an expansion. Because
Yeah,
in that case,
at
you
least
don't
up
have
to-
time to like digest what's happening too, right? That's
Yeah,
also a big thing.
I will mention that I only got up to the end of Stormblood, not the post Stormblood stuff. So I waited for post way later. So like I started at the beginning of October, got all the way to the end at the beginning of October or September. Yeah, sorry, my bad. September. Went all the way through that, and then for the whole month I just played other games. And then once everybody was kind of ready to go, I did the same thing at the very end of September as well. I just like kind of one day just said, you know what, get it all done in one go. Which was very interesting because you get a lot of story out of that and a lot to take in for both of those.
As a person that's running this twice now, this is my second time running through Stormblood. So like I had my first take of how Stormblood was. Now I'm doing it again, or I did it again, and just kind of seeing how it was. I think it diminishes the second time you do it because the story beats just like they don't hit as hard as they did the first time. I think one is that there's not too much like the characters that are introduced in this expansion. I'm not the biggest fan of. I like Hean. Hean he's a cool character, but I think the biggest problem with Hean is like we don't get him anytime after this.
Oh yeah,
like
no.
we don't really see him anymore. Like we still see Aymeric in places, right? Like we were in Stormblood seeing Aymeric and stuff like that. We're obviously we're not gonna see him in Shadowbringers because we're in a whole different place. But like it feels like he didn't have that same kind of like oomph that Aymeric had, right? Because Hean is the Aymeric of this expansion pretty much.
Yeah, every expansion has kind of had your kind of really fucking cool bro character. Like you've had Harshafant and Heaven's War. Like Hean's supposed to be that guy here, but it doesn't really feel like that ever. And then of course you got, characters in Shadowbringers, which again we'll talk about that later. But yeah, he doesn't really feel like a bro. Like it just kind of feels like, okay, we got you to the throne, and that's really kind of about where our relationship ends. Like we're cool because of that reason, but I don't think you're really following me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's like even in we learned this last night, like even in Shadowbringers, they're still quoting Hoshafont. They're still like mentioning the people like the whole just the Heaven's Ward and the symbolism and stuff like that. And we kind of saw that transition to Shadowbringers, but we didn't really like guys said there, we haven't really seen that much of Stormblood. It's almost as if we keep on referencing like ARR and Heaven's Ward, but we don't really go back to Stormblood in Shadowbringers, even though we're in a completely different area, but it's just not referenced nearly as much. It's as if even our character kind of recognizes it didn't make that it. Yes, it was like there was a lot of things that did happen and a lot of good things happened, but it wasn't as impactful as people like Hoshafont and the people of the Foundation and just that everywhere else. It just I don't know what fever dream. I don't.
Yes, like ultimately in the grand scope of things, like now that we have
Mm.
played Shadowbringers, in the grand scope of things, a lot of what happened in Stormblood doesn't really matter, like at all, including like the big end fight. It's just like, yeah, we finally got a guy who we're finally seeing who's behind the Garlean Empire. We're seeing, the faces who were the people we're actually fighting, and we have an end goal there because we have those faces. But like, I guess we can get into spoiler territory, right? Of like some of that story, like. We fight I don't remember his name. I want to say Xenos, but
Yeah, Xenos.
is his name Xenos?
Yeah.
The prince. Yeah, the prince.
Yeah.
We fight Xenos, and he summons a giant fucking dragon that we've fought again. Once again, we fight something that we've already fought in what or trying or did we Omega fought it.
That cutscene was with Omega.
Yeah, Omega fought it.
That's the first time we've
already
kind of took.
Yeah, my point being, it's a problem we've already kind of taken care of. Omega being the problem after that aftermath, right? And then we fight this guy, and then he winds up coming back anyway. Like that whole fight doesn't matter. Like it's so weird, and it's definitely what I don't know who said it yesterday, but someone had said that the story for Shadowbringers was written after Heaven's Ward, and it all makes sense that Stormblood just kind of is that middle little like area, that little pocket where like things happen, but they kind of get fixed anyway, so it doesn't really matter at the grand scope of things. So we kind of just do 180 quests of just like, yeah, we liberate a town, but that's really kind of about the only thing that sticks in the grand scope of things.
Well, I mean, there was the whole Xeno line, and in this particular expansion, we didn't have Heian, Yugiri, Gogetsu, any of the particular people, and yeah, it was kind of like an expansion of like Heaven's Ward because we were kind of like continuing on with that particular like there was a specific story that was associated by this particular person, and which is cool, like don't get me wrong, but at the same time we would need Stormblood. Yeah, is it the most exciting expansion? I would not say so, but it is needed because Heian and the people of Alamigo and everyone else needed to be on our side to be able to go up against Xenos and the Empire because we needed that support. It's almost as it like it's there's and I know we've kind of compared it to an anime before where you need to have those supporting characters. Yes, it's not the most exciting arc. No, it's like not going to be something maybe as memorable as something like Shadowbringers or as with Heaven's Ward, but those players need to be there for us to be able to get to things like Shadowbringers, because the way that we were able to even beat Xenos and we were able to kind of go up against the Empire was because we had the people of Alamigo and the East coming in to help with us. So it was needed for us to be able to continue. And we might see them more in Endwalker because we're now back and like full blown into like
We're
the
back in the
actual
source now.
source.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
back
we're
in the
back in the
source.
source.
Yeah.
So we'll probably interact with them more. Just the feeling that what I've been getting from Harv, and I can't confirm or deny because we haven't played post Shadowbringers, that we're probably not going to see them in post Shadowbringers, but we'll probably see them in Endwalker.
It'll be after 5.3. We'll start seeing them a little bit more. But
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
because like we still have to finish Shadowbringer. Like it's just like how Dragon Song War was for Heaven's Word. The after
Gotcha.
patches, the 3 after patches are going to be the true ending of Shadowbringers, and then
Yeah.
the rest of it is going to be leading up into Endwalker, and we're gonna go back into
Mhm.
like we're gonna see the familiar people that we've talked to before, like Lise and Hien and all of them. So like those characters do come back because like our structure, our this expansion is going to be in the source, right? I don't think we're gonna go back to the first anymore. So I think it's gonna be more of the source than anything else because we're going to like Charlene and all that kind of stuff too. So,
Absolutely.
I disagree with the Xanos thing and him coming back because he is a very interesting character.
Yeah.
The way that the way that he starts his road to where he is now, I like a lot of people think that he doesn't have character progression. He's got minor character progression. But when he comes back, he isn't the same person. Like he doesn't seem like he's the same person after you kill him in the Royal Menagerie.
Yeah.
And that fight when it goes to Shinryu versus like the Shinryu fight was fucking that is probably one of the best fights in the game.
I will say this 100%
so well.
The fucking Primal Fights. This is the DLC where the Primal Fights get fucking epic. Or any of those fights, any of those like trials that you do within Stormblood, they get epic.
There is the Royal Menagerie. There is one of my favorite ones. I forgot what his name was now. Starts with an S. Susano. Susano is one of them. And then there's a third one too, and I forgot which one it was now. There's 3 usually in every expansion.
What was that one with I believe it was the giant fucking sword coming down, and
that's Susano. That's Susano.
That's Susano. Yeah, that was my favorite of that.
I gotta try to remember primals in Stormblood.
But yeah, those like compared to the rest of the story, those felt like so epic, and that's where I kind of feel like they started to experiment a little bit with what they could do during these fights. Because Heaven's Ward had these cool like little set pieces, but Stormblood definitely took it to another level, where like you would have the now we expect them at least, like the cutscenes, like you have a phase 1 and a phase 2, with like a cool little cutscene to kind of go in between them. Music changes in between those as well, and then you have like the struggle counters and stuff like that. Those were really cool to have in those things.
Lakshmi was the other one.
Lakshmi. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that one I think is not great. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's not the greatest one, but out of all the zones, what was your guys' favorite? I know Kugane is probably our favorite city out of all like our favorite city out of all that. But like out of zones, so there was like the peaks, the fringes, the Ruby Sea, the locks, and Gangxia. I think were the 6 zones that we got out of this one. I personally love the Ruby Sea. I think that was probably one of my favorite because it has one of my favorite dungeons in Stormblood, which is the Temple of Shisui, I think it's called. And that's the one that's underwater, where you have to go underwater and then you go into like the bubble and then you do this dungeon that's like in a big bubble kind of type thing. Like a temple. I think that's one of my favorite dungeons in Stormblood. I think they did an awesome job with that one. What do you think, Frank?
I'm trying to remember. There was one area that I really liked. It was that area that we fight that final fight in. It kind of looks like Kugane in a way. It has that forest area, giant like blue crystal, I believe, in the air. I just don't remember the name of it.
The lock?
I believe that would be the
locks.
Zone.
The very last zone.
Yeah, the last zone that we got. Yeah.
Was
I like that zone a lot. I think that out of all the zones, it kind of just looks the most beautiful in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kind of want to go back there with now that we have reshade on it and everything like that. I kind of want to see how that looks with the reshade presets and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for Japanese architecture, so My first choice would have been Kugani. Second choice would be the locks.
Yeah. No, Kugani is a beautiful city. It is a
Kugani's
beautiful
so
city.
fucking nice.
Yeah.
How about you, P?
That's a difficult one. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I get irritated by it, I really liked the simplicity of the steep, like just because it was like grassy areas and
Or the Azim Steps?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Steps. I said steep. No, I thought that was a really pretty area. I did like the more complex the why can I not remember the end city that we then end up flooding?
That's what I'm talking about. The locks. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where we
No,
fight
she's talking about Doma, right? Doma Castle?
Yeah, Doma. Yeah.
Oh,
Doma.
then Doma Castle is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of.
you're thinking of
'Cause that's
you
where
guys
we
are thinking
flooded.
of Yangtze then. You guys are thinking of
Yeah,
Yangtze.
Yangtze.
Is what that is. Yeah. Doma
Yeah,
Castle's
no,
there.
absolutely. Yeah, I think those particular areas were really pretty. I appreciate the like detail, and I think that's something that we even discussed when we were going like doing dungeons together because as we mentioned, we didn't really do the storyline together. Was like everything about Stormblood was gorgeous. The places, the like fights, the dungeons. I didn't get to do nearly as many primals as I wanted to. But just like everything was really over the top, which is great. But yeah, like it's hard to specifically select one particular area. Like the Red Sea was beautiful, like being able to like go around the majority of it's water. And when you first start off, obviously it's really annoying, but then you find out that there's like so much underwater, and that's the whole purpose of it, that it just there was so much to explore. So it's really difficult. But yeah, Doma for sure. I poor Harv having to do dungeons with me and being like, I want to take a photo here. Do you not see this? And it's just like this beautiful city, and he's just like, we need to do this dungeon fee. And only like I'm just like, but I want to take a picture of this room. Like, why is no one else freaking out like I am? Because this is stunning. Like, this is so like, how did they even think of doing something like this? And I'm just standing around running, like trying to take screenshots and try to get photos. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so pretty. I love it. But
yeah, the one thing that we haven't that you guys haven't touched yet is like the raid is really fucking good. It is probably one of the best ones that they made with Omega. And if you have any nostalgia for Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy 6, you are going to love that raid. It is such a good raid. It's got a decent story as well. It's got a really, really good story. And then the primals are like the gods, the different gods that are like Siryu, Suzaku, Byakko, and then I think those are the main three. I think Gambu you do in a dungeon, but yeah, they're really, really well done. I think the fights, if you don't include the story, I think the fights are probably the best that they've done up to that point. Better than Heaven's Ward fights, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But when it comes to story, it does lack. Like Shadowbringers has really, really good primals as well at the end. Like that's like primals are fucking Gundams at the end of fucking Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm excited.
Yeah, if anybody has ever played a Final Fantasy game, you have certain weapons that you have to fight to get ultimate weapons for all your characters, and they put them into this game. And it's so cool. It's so cool. One day we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back and do these fights at some point, probably after Endwalker. The story ends probably, because we'll have a little bit of time to go back and do it. Because once Endwalker comes out, we're gonna be blasting the story. So, So, what was your guys' biggest surprise for this expansion? What do you think your biggest surprise was going into it, or just experiencing it? I guess. One of my, I'll start first, and then you guys can think about this one. My biggest surprise at the it's the very beginning, where you go into Ralgar's Reach for the first time, or like maybe a couple hours into it, and you have that big battle that just goes off, right? You got Forlana coming in, you have Xenos coming in, and for some reason they sidelined Y'shtola the entire fucking expansion, which is a crime.
That's why I hate this expansion.
It's a crime.
How dare you?
And I feel like they tried to set the tone there. And I was very surprised at how fast they tried to set the tone and try to show how badass or how strong Xenos is. And it, like, to me, I feel like they missed it a little bit. I think they went too hard too quick, and they should have like just waited a little bit longer to show us what Xenos is and who he is, kind of type thing. Because like it made it feel like you already know who the big bad is. Like, you already know now who the big bad is, right?
For sure.
There's no like, oh, maybe it's this person, maybe it's that person, you know, that kind of type thing.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you there. It feels kind of weak because he returns so many times, and after that first battle you have with them, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. I fucking hate when like you're gonna have me fight somebody for 15 minutes, and if I die, it's over. But I just have to get him to like 90% health so he can canonically beat me. It's like, if I can't fight somebody who, if I can't win this fight, don't just let me die then. I don't fucking care then. If there's no point in fighting them until, like, you know, I eventually gonna lose anyway, then I don't care. And they keep doing it. They keep bringing him back, and it's like, the second time he comes in, you're like, I'm not gonna win this fight. There's still like 40 quests left.
Yeah. Oh, there's like 80 quests left or some shit like that. Yeah.
I might as well just lay down and die at this point. Like, what the fuck? Why am I even trying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a stark contrast, and we'll talk about this in Shadowbringers. They do the same thing in Shadowbringers, but those are a lot better for a very good reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes in and then he's just like, yeah, I'm tough shit. And then he comes in again. He's like, yeah, I'm tougher shit. It's like, okay, dude, I can't.
But there is a thing though when you keep fighting him over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but his HP goes down faster and faster as you go through.
Oh yeah,
each time.
because we get a little bit
stronger. We get stronger, so he goes down a little bit more. But I do agree with you that those fights take way too much time. Mechanics are the exact same. Nothing changes in the fights, and then at the end of it, he just knocks you down, and then he just does some fucking move that puts you down to 1 HP, and then it just ends. Right? It's one of those things.
Like, I'm not gonna die here. You know, you're not gonna die here. So what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Wasting 15 minutes here.
How about you, Fee?
Okay, so I had to think about this. I know I've already talked about Alize and just like the overall kind of like story arc with her. Because at the beginning I was like upset because we were leaving like Alpha Node behind essentially, and we were going to do stories with him. But there was one particular character that I was not planning on caring about, and I'm really upset that at the end, like just as we were like beginning to like her, she was taken away from us, which was Yotsuyu Go Brutus.
That was the one I was going to mention, and when it got to me.
I'm sorry. Oh my god!
Don't worry about it.
I was so upset with her character because she took Gogetsu away from us, which, by the way, that part I was a mess. Like, seeing him like at the end, like sacrificing himself so everyone else could live was a huge, like, that was probably the most emotion other than my freak out that I felt during that expansion. And it was just a lot of emotions come into one, and then you find out that she's lost her memory, and Gogetsu lives, and you're just like, why are you protecting her? You don't, like, Gogetsu, you don't forget, like, you didn't lose your memory, why are you protecting her? And then you start finding out that she's completely lost her memory, and it's true, she's lost her memory, but then just her fucking brother decides to like spark her memory by bringing her parents, which was probably the most disgusting thing you could have done, because we find out that they abused her entire childhood, that she was treated terribly from her childhood to her adulthood, because she was then sold off to essentially the red light district, and then was married off to someone she didn't love, and then she ended up being this particular person and working with the Empire, and getting essentially like they turned their back on her. And then when she finally became she just accepted her fate, but then we find out that it's more in lines of she did it because she didn't believe that anyone would like her. It was kind of like a subconscious thing. But then the fight,
Fight was really good.
That fight at Castrum Fluminus.
Yeah,
Fluminus, I
Fluminus,
think.
yeah.
Fluminus was absolutely spectacular. Just like her, not only like you see like the darkness and the light, because her entire body is like half black, half white, because she's struggling with her internal emotions. But then you kind of see her actual like mental thoughts, and it's Gugetsu trying to save her, and she's like, "Why are you here? Like,
Yeah.
why would you try to help me?" And like, even like talking about it right now, I'm about to get teary, because I just like, I was kind of rooting for her at the end, because even though we find out that she killed her parents, I was just like, they deserved it. If you were in a situation like that, like, take that opportunity, because they were still treating her terribly and like garbage. And just,
It makes sense
her
why
stuff-
she was the way she was
Oh yeah,
at the beginning of the
I would-
expansion.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? I'm shocked that she's not more crazy than Xenos. Like, I'm shocked that she was able to like kind of keep some sort of like stability without going absolutely batshit insane. So that was.
I mean, she's kind of batshit insane. I think that's what. I think
But
I think that's
Xenos,
why I
Xenos
like her.
has no remorse. I think she has
Yeah, Xenos is
some
fucking
remorse.
crazy.
But
No,
Xenos
he
has
does
zero
not have
remorse.
empathy.
Yeah.
Except he's our
Xenos is
bestie.
straight Dexter at that point.
He's
I
our
mean,
bestie.
yeah.
Why would you get mad? He's our bestie.
I mean,
He's
that's what he
literally,
thinks.
The
I
thrill of the
mean-
hunt.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would you like to partake in the thrill of the hunt?
I do just want to take a side note, going back to like what we discussed earlier, that it was never like Stormblood was never mentioned in Shadowbringers. There is a kind of like a hint towards that in the tanking quest line, because you go like, the person's like, I'm going to be going on a hunt. And he was very much consistently talking about going on this hunt. And then at the end, he's just like, for the next hunt. And I'm like, this reminds me of a guy. And then at the end, I've remembered, oh fuck, because of Xenos. Because of the so like, now I'm realizing that there was kind of a nod to it. Not the same type of hunt, I just want to say, because Xenos's hunt compared to Garson's hunt is completely different. But
Much different.
Yeah.
same, but way different. Like, literally stars apart different.
So, Frank, do you have something else?
Yeah, I'm in love with Yatsuyu.
Oh. Okay.
Joking. No, she's a great character. I liked every second of that. I always kind of like those kind of crazy characters anyway. The ones who are just kind of a little. They're not too far gone to the point where like they're irredeemable like some characters, but I'm a fucking sucker for redemption arcs. I am an absolute sucker for redemption arc, and I knew from the very get-go that when we found out that she was still alive, I was like, here comes the fucking redemption arc, and I'm all for it. Which we kind of got in a way. It does get kind of like randomly cut, and then just like, okay, now she's evil again.
Hey, but she did kill her brother, though.
Yeah, she
Which
did
is
kill her
fair, yeah.
brother. She
Yeah.
did. At the end of the day, she was redeemed,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I loved every second of it.
She had the last say.
She's still like, I mean, she was still kind of evil at the end, but like she still like did a good deed by the end of it, which was great. Other than that, I mean, Gogetsu was a fucking bro. I think what's weird is like he's more of a bro than the bro character is supposed to be in our own DLC. Like I every time I'm like, Gogetsu, hell yeah, you're here. He just kind of goes away and then just doesn't come back for a few quests, and then like we have to be stuck with Hien, who is like Gogetsu light, but like not as cool. So it's like, okay. But yeah, no, Yatsuyu is probably like my favorite character of that whole DLC. I kind of wish we had like a lot more of the ninja girl. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Yugiri? Yeah, I wish we had a lot more of her this DLC, more than Hien. I feel like there was a prime opportunity to get. I know we've talked to her for like a good while at this point, and we kind of know more. We know about her, but like, I think it was the time for us to kind of focus on her just a little bit more. And then of course we didn't get Y'shtola this whole DLC, so it's obviously a 0 out of as soon as that happened. So
One of my favorite scenes of this was in post Stormblood when you have that parlay with the Radiance with his Radiance.
his radiance.
And he's the one guy on the one side, and then you have everybody else on the other side. And like I always thought this scene reminded me of Battlestar Galactica a lot. When that show starts, when everybody's like going to that place to like talk, like the Cylons are coming in, and then the other sides are coming in as we're all talking.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, and just that was one of my favorite scenes because of how much exposition and just how much like where the Garland Empire is coming from, and what their agenda is at this point. Like he pretty much
What their
spells it out.
intentions are.
Yeah, he pretty much spells it out,
Yeah.
right? And seeing that much exposition and that much like them just putting their cards on the table was really, really cool to see. Because like I love extended like stuff like that. I love that stuff when they sit down and explain something. Like give me a cutscene that's like 5-10 minutes long. Just do that.
No,
I
Give me
love
some
that
more
kind
lore.
of stuff. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And that's what like Shadowbringers has a lot of that stuff, right? Especially when you got MSL coming in. So yeah,
Mm.
we
We do get a quick glimpse of him.
yes,
This DLC.
at the end of this DLC, at the end of Stormblood, we do get MSL. He does say that he is the one that created the Garlean Empire, right?
Yeah.
He was like the mastermind behind it all, and yeah, which is a cool reveal, which is a really, really cool reveal.
Yeah. And that's around the same time that we started losing everybody.
Yes, that's when we
'Cause-
started to lose people to the first. Yeah,
People are starting to like black out and not wake back up.
yeah.
Which like man, that fight when Alize was just like, we go in together and we stay together, and then she leaves. Oh god.
Yeah.
Why would you leave? This horror movie rules, man. We stick together.
Well, I don't think she really had a choice.
Yeah, her soul was pretty much getting fucking extracted from her body.
Destroyed. Destroyed, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like so we didn't have too much to talk about when it came to Stormblood, but we wanted to cover like the main bases of it and what the story was. I am glad that Ilbert is not a character anymore. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad.
You don't like Sloppy Boy?
Yeah.
Sloppy.
Sloppy. Why do you seem so confused?
Oh, because I thought she said Ardbird, and
No,
I'm like, wait,
Ilbert.
what?
Ilbert.
Yeah.
Ilbert.
Oh.
Art.
The guy that became Shinryu. And
Yeah,
because
the
he took
fucking-
the eyes,
Oh.
and he became Shinryu. And I'm glad that the
Oh, yeah.
eyes are not a thing as well anymore.
Oh yeah.
We finally
God.
put those to rest, and they're not going to be a crutch anymore for the story.
That's right. They did show up one more time during this DLC, didn't they?
Yeah, because it's at the very end.
Fight.
Yeah, it's the very end
Yeah.
because then
But
Estinian
Estinian's
comes
just
in.
like, no. He's like,
Estinian's like, no.
absolutely not. He's just like, I'm taking this fucking like lance and I am destroying the shit out of these eyeballs because no one else gets these.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that should have happened in the first place.
Yeah, instead of throwing
You
him off
shouldn't
a
have thrown
bridge.
him into the pit.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you guys doing? Well, I mean, if Estinian was probably awake during that, you probably would have stabbed him. But he wasn't.
Yeah, because
No.
I think it was Amric that said throw him
No.
over the thing, right? So-
Fucking Amric, what are you doing, dude?
He made one mistake.
One.
But yeah, so if you guys, so we've been through ARR, we've been through Heaven's Ward, we've been through Stormblood. Where would you guys rank this as the last thing that we're gonna do? We're gonna do for the podcast. Where would you guys rank the three? What's your ranking? Oh wow.
If I had to combine ARR with post ARR,
Yeah. This is
I would
AR. This is ARR as a
Okay.
whole. This is Heaven's Ward as a whole. This is Stormblood as a whole.
Do you need a minute? Because I
Yeah.
already know. I already
Yeah.
know. Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, ARR. And Stormblood only gets the number 2 spot right there because the fights are way better than anything in ARR, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah.
But story-wise, ARR still wins, but I'd rather, gameplay is gameplay, right? So fighting is great. I'm gonna give that to number 2. Heaven's Ward is fucking primo, and then AR at the end. Not saying AR is bad. It's just, I kind of prefer the fights in Stormblood.
Yeah, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, ARR. But see, the problem is with ARR, there's like really great characters like Hashafont. We got to spend a lot of time with Hashafont in ARR, and we got to build relationships with, at least for myself, when I first started off with like Robon and the
Sultana.
the Sultana and all those other characters. It's just really difficult. I would probably put like Stormblood and ARR on the same. So I would put like no third, just first Heaven's
tied
Ward.
for second.
Yeah, it's a tied for
that would
second.
work too.
Yeah.
Because like there's just so many things that were like it's the same, like I have the same feeling with ARR as I do with Stormblood. There are definitely some major great highlights, but then there's a lot of things that were like an issue.
So like
there was a lot of things in ARR that just like ARR was way too long and it dragged on for a long time.
and they took quests out.
That's also why I have it on 3 as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of filler in ARR.
And they took quests out of ARR too.
Mm-hmm.
So really, they both had high highs but really low lows as well.
Yes.
Right. That's kind of what
I'll agree. Heaven's Ward, at least at this point, until we start talking about Shadowbringers.
Before we get to Shadowbringers, Heaven's Ward is number 1 for me. Stormblood is number 2, and they are number 3. I have to combine gameplay and story, like what Frank said. I have to combine gameplay. The Primal Fights are fucking so good in Stormblood. I know we didn't do the raids, but the raids are so good in Stormblood. Heaven's Ward is not that far behind, honestly, when it comes to that kind of stuff. ARR had really great story. Again, a lot of fluff. They could still take out like 50% of those quests after ARR. They literally could take out 50% of those quests. But honestly, I think that's like one of the big saving graces is the fights as well. I like the fights there, right? You got Shiva, you got Ramu, you have like a lot of these different fights that like are core staples of Final Fantasy, and they did a good job with that stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, next week we get to talk about Shadowbringers, because I know we're gonna have a lot to talk about Shadowbringers.
I'm already switching the lights. We're going purple.
Because the Warrior of Darkness.
Hell yeah.
Oh man.
We didn't even talk about Lise.
Yes.
Her sister.
Fuck Lise.
This is where the problem lies for me, Fee. This is the problem, where the characters just aren't as memorable as they are when you come out of Heaven's Ward. Right? I was thinking about Lise. I was thinking about her, but I was like, what does she do that really is like that big?
Nothing.
Yeah.
She does nothing. She doesn't take responsibility for anything. She tries to pass it off to everyone else but herself.
Until the end, where she takes over.
Lets a prisoner out. She lets a prisoner out, and that's her arc.
Oh, with Forlona, yeah.
I just want to strictly say, as you guys may have known, people listening on the podcast, the people who've watched him and watching the streams, and these two gentlemen right here know for a fact that when someone dies in a video game, I'm usually a blubbling, like I cry. I'm not going to sit here and deny it. I'm a softie. I cry. It's a lot. There was one particular death that had such a non-effect to me that it didn't hit anything, and that was Conrad Kemp. I felt bad, but it was just like, great question. He was actually the leader of the resistance in Alamigo.
That's maybe the second person you meet in Raglar's Reach, right? Because that's where the quest splits up. Yeah,
he has quite a substantial role in Alamigo. Did you guys know that? Did the listeners know that? If you did, DM me. Might give you a prize, because quite honestly, for myself, it just didn't hit. Like, it was a dramatic thing that happened, and I was just like, I have not felt this way about someone's death and not having this effect, like any sort of effect, in a very long time. Because literally sitting here trying to talk about certain deaths, I get teary. This one, I was just like, really sucks that 2 seconds later we got what we needed, eh? Like it's I don't know. I think it was like at that particular point it was and I don't want like this is gonna you know what, I know it's gonna sound rude. It was a pointless death to have a death to make people feel bad, and I think that the character could have like
well, you got to earn these things, right? You have to earn these things.
Yeah, they didn't.
The death was there to fucking make Lise feel bad, like she failed. But I'm like, Lise, you were already a failure. This doesn't change anything.
Well, maybe if she stood up. Well, here's the thing. Like, that was her opportunity to stand up for Alamigo, and she didn't. And then she was just like, Robon's here. Let me see if I can get him to do it. Like
an actual fucking hero shows up, and she's just like, oh yeah, now I can ride off of this, I guess.
Because, like, I feel like that didn't have any... Like, it had an impact. Yeah, it was depressing. But, like, it was nothing that was just, like... You would assume that with a death such as that, story-wise, they would do something where Lise leads the resistance in Alamigo or does something substantial, and then she's just like, I'm going to stay in Alamigo, but I'm just here for support. And I'm like, good job, Lise. It was nice knowing you. I'm going to the first. Like, I don't
I'm out. Peace.
And then by the end, accidentally brings fucking spies into the city and almost got everybody killed. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember she got a fucking what was that? Like a hive mind like monster. I can't even remember what the monster was, but the little like Laxmi monster or some shit like that.
Yeah, like a Lakshmi kind of type thing.
Yeah, but she almost got everybody fucking right, including the Hero of Light again. So
I was thinking of the Papalimbo stuff, but that was in Heaven's Ward. So that happened before we even got into Stormblood.
That was post Heaven's Ward. Yeah.
That was like right at the end of post Heaven's Ward. Yeah.
Because she was trying to like because it was literally like he dies and then instantly she loses her tattoo, which then magically makes her Lise, which like I understand for people like for Yashola that it was just like ta-da, like I can see that she's not her sister, but like for the rest of us it's just like you could have kept your mask on. I would have still assumed that you were your sister the entire time. Like I don't know what specifically
from what they said that everybody actually knew, except obviously I guess you yourself didn't know until later, but because like Papalimbo told the Scions to keep the charade up. Just let it.
Because she wasn't considered. She's technically not a Scion. Like she's not. She was a false Scion, and that's probably why she didn't end up coming to the first. Yeah. Like she didn't end up getting sucked into the first because it was only the Scions that were taken to the first.
Yeah, and at the end of Stormblood, she stayed back, right, because of taking care of some of the places that they needed to take care of.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I thought about Lise. I thought about like those characters and stuff like that. They just don't resonate as much as like Lucia, Amaric, and stuff like that. They resonate, right? So
I don't know who Amaric is.
Who's this Amaric guy you speak of?
I don't know. He just is on every background that I have on every device.
Right.
He's not the background of my Stream Deck right now.
Not yet.
No, just
sure about that?
Yeah, I was gonna. Is he actually your friend?
Let me see. Okay, I don't know.
It won't show.
Yeah, it's too late, but you can. Oh God. Let's see. Can you? Oh, wait,
no. Okay.
Yeah, you can see
him. That's him, and that's his face. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see him.
He's just saying. I need to find a better one because that one covered like the X, kind of like this empty spot here is where his face is. So.
I have an idea for you. Just take all the screenshots you have, Amaric, and put them in each of the squares. I'm sure you can. What is a Stream Deck? Like 4, 8, 12, 12 squares? I'm sure you have 12 screenshots of Amaric.
I have 15.
15
like
squares.
It's a 15 squares, yeah.
So I'm sure you have 15 screenshots of Eric, 15 different screenshots of Amaric.
So I think once we buy a house, we're gonna have to have a shrine to Amaric.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We have to.
It's gonna be a room. It's gonna be a room. It's not.
Here's the thing.
It's gonna be like a room in the house, because like in the house you can have your own private rooms as well. Yeah. So we're gonna have the Amaric room, which is gonna be very creepy, but it's gonna be there.
I mean, that's where she's gonna spend most of her time.
But we also need to have a shrine to Hashafon. Like the
Hashafon shrine is right when you walk into the house. His picture is gonna be at the very front.
Yeah,
we
with the
move
shield.
his grave
Yeah,
to our house, just bury him in the backyard.
Because once okay, we'll have to figure that out once Endwalker comes out. If we get a house somewhere that isn't the Goblet, I will
Yeah.
never go back to the Goblet. Fuck that place.
I imagine there's gonna be a new area, right? For
Ishgard
whoever to buy a
is
house.
Ishgard
Oh,
is the
Ishgard,
new
yeah.
one, but
So we need one in Ishgard.
oh yeah, so easy, Fee, so easy.
Let's just do that.
Let's go
Yeah,
buy a house
easy
now.
enough.
Believe me that once
Oh.
we finish all the story stuff, you best believe once we have money, I'm just living in those towns and I'm going to wait. And I will be sitting in front of homes until they get released, because apparently that's what people do, is they just
Yeah.
sit in front of plots until a house becomes available.
Well,
and
we're gonna
I
have to
will
all
make
pool the
sure-
money in and then do it. Honestly, that's what we're
yeah.
gonna have to do.
How much is a house again? Like 15 mil?
Well, if we want like a medium house, like 11, and then a
Okay.
large house is like probably around 18 to 20 million.
This is
We'll just
why
get
we
Dan to pay
20
for
mil.
it. I mean, he's a crafter. He could probably craft some like 100K type items. You know what I mean? Make that money quick.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
We'll
I
see.
have Thrimmel.
Yeah, I think I'm sitting at 8 or 9 right now, but like,
Well, we got enough fun anyway. I have 2 mil on me already. Bam, easy dub.
again, guys, the money isn't the hard part. The money is easy. That's the easy part. The hard part is fucking finding a plot.
I will go strong arm somebody. I will break into someone's house and pull a gun on.
Like
You
I will
better- you
open up.
better do
I will
this
open
plot.
up Final Fantasy after this. We're done here recording, and I will see if there are any plots in Lavender Beds or in the Mist.
But that's not Ishgard.
The Ishgard dream, let it go. Let it go. It's not gonna happen.
No.
Just let it go.
It's not
I will
happening.
not let it go. I will not let this go. We are getting one in
Just what Elsa
Ishgard.
said. Just let it go. Okay.
I'm not letting it go.
We'll just buy a house in every plot. Why not?
I'm stubborn.
Just take over a whole fucking area.
Oh man,
I
I
suppose nobody's done that yet.
because you can't buy a house.
You can't buy more than one house. Can I buy?
You
like,
can.
can I-
You as a character can only buy one house.
So if I got my whole FC to say fuck it, let's buy the whole area. And
You
is that
probably could, but
possible?
the problem is finding plots. That's the
Oh, yeah.
problem.
I wonder if there's some like mafia.
And then you have you can have a personal house and you can have an FC house as your personal character. You can have 2 houses.
Ishgard.
I got an apartment with 1 room.
Harv's
no
just
toilet.
like, I'm sick of these.
Fucking Ishgard bullshit. I mean, I want to
Fucking
see what
Ishgard.
Ishgard looks like first, as well.
I don't even need to see it.
So that's
'Cause,
the
like,
new area. That's
It's all gonna be
plotted,
it's gonna be snow,
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
dude.
it's gonna be great. Oh man, I'm just like snow though.
Can our house
What
be
do
made
you
of
mean?
stone? Imagine a house made of just pure stone. Oh, that'd be sick.
I mean, you
Yeah,
can
just a
you can
stone
do that
house.
anywhere though.
Yeah,
We can do
Yeah.
but I
stone-
mean with the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like here's the thing: stone, big fireplaces. We get the GOT stuff going on. If you enter the house, you have to wear a fur coat.
Mm-hmm.
House Stark, Harv, calm down.
In the basement.
They
of
all
fucking
die, Fee.
Weird ERP.
Oh, they're all
sex
fucking.
dungeon,
They all have. They're all traumatized.
have a
I
basement
mean,
like weird
aren't we
ERP.
all? You know, aren't we all?
Have that ERP sex dungeon that we were trying to get with Dan managing.
I
it.
mean, you guys
Well, that's
saw.
how we're gonna
I
be.
know we're a little off the tangent now, but like you guys did see that the thing that Seb did for my FC though, the one that I'm in
Oh yeah,
with like the
Yeah.
Halloween shit. Like that's kind of shit I want to do. I think that'd be fun to do.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. We just make like we get one in Ishgard and then we recreate it based off
Or
of the Stark.
We could do
Mansion.
Shirogane, which is the Kugane
Go
place.
Shirogane.
But here's the thing: Ishgard, we just have a shrine.
You can have a shrine anywhere.
But there's no snow.
I'll make snow for you. I have snow. I have snow in my inventory right now. I have snow. I can
People
just
are
put.
gonna
have snow.
I have igloo. I have an igloo as well. We can make this work.
I like the fact that like I'm just picturing it right now, and that one this could be like a side segment. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna get one in the Kugana area, and the entire outside has to be snow. So it has to seem like a winter wonderland when you come in, and people are gonna be like, "Why the fuck is this happening?" And I'll be like, "Because this is a like what is it? A oh my god, what is it called? A like." It's like inspired.
It's like
by
paying
Ishgard.
homage.
Paying homage to Ishgard,
Oh, there you
and then we
go.
have things like
I have like 12 snow patches. We can make this work.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get more snow patches. It's going to be a winter wonderland. Elsa would be proud.
I will,
Yeah,
after
that'll
we're done
be-
with the podcast, I will see if there are any plots anywhere in any fucking zone first. And then we'll go from there. Minus the goblet. Never go to the goblet. I don't want to go to the desert.
Oh, the
Fuck that.
goblet.
It's the desert. I don't want to
Okay.
go to the
Oh,
desert.
The
Fuck
goblet
the
doesn't look like
desert.
a desert, isn't it? Doesn't it? Like, I think I have an apartment in the goblet. It just doesn't look like a desert. It just
What?
looks like a.
It's dude, it's Thanaland. It's the
Is it?
desert area, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one by old. That's the
Yeah,
older area, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a desert.
I mean,
It
it's
has- it's all
desert-like.
stone.
Yeah, but it's
It's
like
all stone.
it's all one color and it's kind of boring, you know?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. If we got into like if that's
Lavender
the only
Beds has a
area,
waterfall.
then
That's
what
true.
we do is we just plan it all out towards Dune, and then we just have like just sand and you know what? Never mind, because that includes sandworms and fuck worms. I will be talking about my frustrations and hate about worms next episode.
Oh, we need to clip. Somebody needs to clip that out for you and put that on somewhere when you
Yeah,
saw that
and the little
thing.
pep talk I have to fucking give you to
Yeah.
fight a boss.
So we got to somehow. I think I'm gonna clip that out tonight. I'm trying to like make a
Yeah,
TikTok out
do
of it or
that,
something.
and then take the stuff from Frank, and then you just see like me hiding in the like outside, and then Frank being like, "Fee, come out here." I'm like, "No, I don't want to go out."
I was gonna zoom
like-
into like the pillar that you're hiding behind. No, I don't want to come out.
Just to, like take a like a moment where it's just like my character's face just like half shown.
Yeah, it comes
He's
out
like,
of the wall. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go.
That
out.
requires a lot of editing. That requires
could
maybe
pro-
too much editing.
I'll probably take a look at it tonight. I'll
There you go.
probably get something done with that.
All right, guys, we're getting way off topic now. this is how
This is the off-topic podcast.
This is
This is
great.
how much I fucking love Stormblood. I already got the Shadowbringer colors ready for next week.
Oh man, Fee, where can everybody find you?
People can find me here someday. I might find my way to actually find some sleep, but until then, you can check me out on Monday and Wednesdays on twitch.tv/Ceranics, where I am live streaming my adventures through Stormblood, and we'll probably be doing some stuff like my Dark Knight quests, because actually we found a letter. Well, we received a letter the other day, which was pretty weird. So we'll be continuing that on Monday. You can also check me out on Speaking of Stadia. We actually just recorded one this evening before this podcast. So we are over on the Game Source Network. And you can check us on Twitter at twitter.com/point in. Speaking of Stadia, not point in progress, because
Put
that
in
is
progress.
yeah. And
Who the fuck are those
Point in-
guys?
oh my god. And yeah, I will also I just also want to mention that I am the co-captain for Kind of Funny Extra Life team, and we are going to be doing all sorts of fun stuff next weekend. So please make sure to check that out. We do have a lot of great streamers as well who are going to be highlighted and hosted by Kind of Funny throughout the weekend. So please make sure to check that out, and please help and support the big beautiful children.
Awesome.
yeah.
Frank, where can everybody find you?
You find me next to this cat.
Okay, cat.
No. You can find me next to this cat. You can find me, I guess, Monday and Wednesday when we do Final Fantasy at twitch.tv/Kestrel1A. That is Kestrel1A with a number 1 and an A. You can find me at Twitter, where I talk shit about video games and post my screenshots at Kestrel1A. And you can find me at TikTok as well, Kestrel1A, where I post, apparently I'm a Rainbow Six Siege TikToker somehow.
There you go.
So there goes that.
Yeah, you can find me here on Point in Progress. Doing some YouTube content with the Point in Progress podcast. We got reviews. We got this podcast as well. We got a new show starting up pretty soon. I think it's already been announced, right? 15 by 15 and 15 from Sly. That's going to be coming out next week. And then we have another show coming out soon that we have not announced yet, but soon.
Listen.
Frank, Bassoon.
Yeah.
The last train to Busan. Is that what the thing is called?
Train to yeah.
It's just called the train to Busan, not the
Oh,
last
yeah.
train to Busan. But yeah, Frank Fee, thank you so much for coming by and joining me on this one. Coming by, you guys are always here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Until next time, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.